At the start of this season, few would have predicted that Leeds United would become embroiled in a relegation battle. On returning to the Premier League after a 16-year absence, they recorded an impressive top-half finish in 2020-21, with manager Marcelo Bielsa winning the hearts of neutrals with his aggressive attacking style of play, and players like Patrick Bamford, Raphinha and Kalvin Phillips consistently impressing. But after 12 games of the new campaign, his side sit just 1 place and 2 points above the relegation zone, with his only wins coming against newly promoted Watford and Norwich, while worries over the club's ability to attract the right players in the January transfer window has fans fearing the worst. But why are Leeds struggling this season? On today's EFD Explained, we're going to find out. The first thing to address is that Marcelo Bielsa has been particularly unlucky with injuries this season, and especially in defence. Robin Koch has been out since August and isn't due to come back until December, while Luke Ayling has been on the sidelines since September and is also yet to return. Meanwhile, Diego Llorente has already missed 4 games, as has new signing Junior Firpo. Last term, 9 Leeds players missed games through injury, fewer than 10 other Premier League sides, and missed an accumulated total of 522 days, fewer than 14 of their rivals. This season they have already had 8 players out at various points, while only Brentford had more players on the sidelines going into the last international break. And while the likes of Koch and Llorente both faced lengthy spells out in 2021, they were the only players in the squad to do so. This season, 3 players have already missed at least 7 of the club's 12 fixtures, one of whom is Patrick Bamford. Following a slow start to the campaign that saw him net just once in 5 appearances, Bamford picked up an ankle injury against Newcastle back in September, with Rodrigo, who has hit over 5 league goals in a season just 3 times in his career, filling in at centre forward. Luckily, Raphinha has been on top form, hitting 5 goals in 10 appearances, just 1 fewer than he managed in 30 games last season, while his shots per 90 have increased from 2.6 to 3.8. Despite this, he's actually shooting from inside the box less often, with 2.5 of his attempts coming from range, compared with just 0.9 of them last term. So it's just as well his finishing has been superb, as only 6 other squad members have registered a goal so far, with Rodrigo the only teammate to hit more than 1. And this is reflected across the team. Leeds are actually taking more shots this season than they did in the last, but while their 9.3 shots in the box was beaten only by Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea in 2021, they are now taking just 7.6 shots in the area, only good enough for 10th in the league. For context, Burnley are currently averaging 7.3 shots in the box. So it's clear that Bielsa's side are struggling to create chances in good areas, and as a result are averaging just 1 goal a game, down from 1.6 last season. That's the difference between 38 goals and 62 goals across an entire campaign. It's no wonder then that while they generated over 2 expected goals in 10 different games last term, they are yet to do it once this season. They are also conceding 1.6 goals a game, up from 1.4 in 2021, which wouldn't be too much of a problem if the attack was functioning consistently. After all, only 6 teams conceded more than them last term, while only relegated West Brom and Sheffield United conceded more expected goals. Bielsa's system of man-to-man marking and high pressing always has the possibility of giving away big chances to the opposition when they are pulled out of shape. So when they are unable to punch back like they're used to, their defensive deficiencies become even more apparent. When we consider why Leeds have been disappointing this season, the fact they massively overachieved last year must also be taken into account. They finished 9th on 59 points, the biggest tally for a promoted side since Ipswich in 2001, and placed above Everton, Aston Villa and Wolves, all clubs with a significantly higher squad value than the Yorkshire outfit. Between 2018, when Bielsa became Leeds manager, and 2021, Wolves spent £283 million on transfers, more than anyone bar Chelsea, Arsenal and the Manchester clubs in that period, while Everton spent £263 million and Villa £252 million. Leeds, by comparison, spent just £105 million in that time, with £95 million of that coming in the summer they were promoted. So while Bielsa was able to go big in the transfer market in the summer of 2020, he got them to the Premier League on a shoestring budget, not spending a penny in the summer and winter windows of the 2019-20 campaign. During his 2 years managing Leeds in the second tier, the club ranked 18th in the Championship for money spent on transfers, while they ranked 8th for money received. This goes some way to explaining why Bielsa used just 23 players last season, fewer than any other Premier League manager. Having transformed the careers of players like Luke Ayling and Patrick Bamford, who for a long time were not considered good enough for the Premier League, Bielsa has a tight-knit squad at Elland Road, many of whom have been with him from the start and who are fully subscribed to his tactical vision. But it is nevertheless a thin squad which normally wouldn't belong in the top half of the Premier League. This isn't to say he's totally bereft of star quality. The aforementioned Raphinha is one of the best Prem signings of the last few years, while Kalvin Phillips is one of the league's very best deep-lying midfielders. However, when key players get injured or go through a spell of poor form, as we've seen with Jack Harrison this term, it's difficult to maintain performances, especially with a system as physically and mentally demanding as Bielsa's. He's already used 24 players this term, one more than in the entirety of last season, which just goes to show the lack of continuity in his side in 21-22. And when you're trying to integrate a new signing like Junior Firpo, this makes things more difficult. Not only have injuries stunted his early progress at the club, but he's also being tasked to fulfill a role Estjan Alioski and Stuart Dallas had excelled in over the previous 3 seasons, and do so in a side which is constantly being moved around and seriously lacks depth. In their most recent game against Tottenham, Bielsa was forced to give 19-year-old striker Joe Gelhardt his first ever Premier League start, while Kalvin Phillips had to cover in defence. In their 2-1 loss to Southampton in October, just 2 of the 9 players on Bielsa's bench, Adam Forshaw and Charlie Cresswell, had started a Premier League game in their career, with Cresswell's first coming just weeks earlier. If Leeds are to make any progress over the next 18 months, then they will need to seriously invest in the squad. But while the side's early season form has been worrying, there are still reasons to be hopeful for fans of Leeds. Bielsa's system is far from flawless, and when faced with an injury crisis, his squad does look like one of the weakest in the league. However, performances have been improving. His side generated more expected goals than the opposition in each of the 3 games leading up to the last international break, which included the visits of Wolves and Leicester, far from terrible teams. They were also the much better side in the first half of their recent loss to Antonio Conte's Spurs, dominating possession, making more tackles and interceptions than their hosts as they pressed them high up the pitch, and outshooting them both inside and outside the penalty area. Even with a threadbare side, they are capable of causing problems, even if results are yet to consistently show this. And while injuries and fitness have otherwise been a huge negative for Bielsa, the return of Adam Forshaw, who hadn't started a game in over 2 years prior to November, has been a big plus. The versatile midfielder has taken the pressure off Kalvin Phillips and has quickly reacquainted himself with the physical demands of the Premier League, a competition he hasn't played in since 2017. He's attempting 26 pressures per 90, second in the squad to Phillips, and is also creating around 2 chances a match. And while there are a number of key names we now associate with Bielsa's Leeds, it is also a team that is developing. With an average age of 25.3, they have the 4th youngest squad in the Premier League, and so fans can expect to see prospects such as Gelhardt improve as they are given more chances. However, given just how long it took them to get back to the top flight, staying in it is imperative. It's essential that Bielsa can recapture the magic of the 2021 campaign sooner rather than later. So that was our take on why Bielsa and Leeds are struggling this season, but have you got any suggestions on similar videos we could do on other teams, perhaps in other European leagues? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like, and if you're not subscribed to Euro Football Daily already, then please hit the subscribe button too. We put videos like this out every single day, so you really don't want to miss out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.